Get your tickets now for the Dog Stars.
It's no surprise how fast civilization can disappear. Out there, it's kill or be killed.
Jacob Elordi.
There are people out there. They need our help.
Josh Brolin.
Shoot first and inquire afterwards.
Margaret Qualley.
Ow.
Okay, tough guy.
And Guy Pearce.
Arm up.
The Dog Stars. Directed by Ridley Scott. In theaters August 28th. Get tickets now. Rated R. Under 17, not admitted without parents.
Late night bites with friends? Already hard to beat. That first too hot bite of fries you couldn't wait for, followed by ice cold Pepsi. Now that hits different. Suddenly, the energy kicks back in, the night goes longer, and the laughs don't stop. Because Pepsi brings out more flavor, more fun, and more of the moment. Food deserves Pepsi. Grab a Pepsi Zero Sugar today.
This episode is brought to you by ChatGPT. Hey, it's Bill Simmons from the Bill Simmons Podcast. Have you guys heard about ChatGPT work? It's the new way to use ChatGPT for bigger multi-step projects. And when you need more than just answers, give ChatGPT work access to your apps and files, and it can create real work documents like spreadsheets, slides, and structured reports. Get started at chatgpt.com by selecting work mode, available on Plus and Pro plans.
Hello there, Stanley Carr here. You know, I love collecting music and sports memorabilia. Want to know where you can find some? I'll tell you. Go to oldglory.com. This website features one-of-a-kind apparel from your favorite sports teams and musical artists. And I can help you get 15% off of all items. Use the code WWH135. Enjoy the episode.
Welcome to Wrestling with Heart, a podcast looking at pro wrestlers giving back to their community. Join me, Stanley Carr, as I interview wrestling's hottest names who use their platforms as entertainers to raise awareness and do community service.
Hello and welcome to another edition of Wrestling with Heart. This is the show where we talk with professional wrestlers and professional wrestling personalities about their lives in and outside of the ring, as well as doing acts of charity work, community service, volunteering, and spreading positivity. We're always about the positive vibes here on the show. Before I introduce my guest today, I want to take this time to promote our brand new book, which you can see here on the screen. It's Champions for a Cause, Volume 1. It is a collection of interviews with some of your favorite professional wrestling personalities like Mark Marrow, Tito Santana, Buff Bagwell, Jake the Snake Roberts, and so many others. It is available now on Amazon.com for $15 as a paperback. Get your copy now. With me right now, I've got a very special guest. She is a rising star in the world of professional wrestling. You may have seen her on WOW and has made some appearances on AEW and Ring of Honor television. I am pleased to welcome the CEO of Maddie Media. Pleased to welcome Madisyn Maxxwell. Welcome to Wrestling with Heart.
Thank you for having me. I like the intro, the CEO of Maddie Media.
Yeah, it's my pleasure. So, were you always a big wrestling fan growing up?
Oh, yeah. Since I was 8 years old, it's been my passion, love, obsession, dream.
8 years old. Man.
Mm-hmm.
So, I take it like you're WWE diehard. Were you always into the WWE, or did you watch?
Yeah. So, WWE is what I fell in love with. My dad took me to a Monday Night Raw taping when I was 8. Never seen it before, never knew what it was. And then since that day, I wanted to be a wrestler. So I started out in the WWE fandom and was obsessed with it. And I was a kid, so I didn't really know there was other options out there. And then I guess as I got older and then actually got into the business, I realized that you have TNA, New Japan, and then AEW came into the picture as well. But it's always been WWE since I was a kid.
Who is your favorite to watch? Some of your favorite wrestlers that you idolized?
So Edge and Lita are what I attribute to my dream forming. I remember vividly seeing his entrance and her. And it's when he had the feud with John Cena and Maria was involved. And I remember at the show, Vince McMahon was there and everyone was calling him an asshole. But I was 8 years old, so I couldn't indulge in the chanting at that time. But definitely Edge and Lita. And I say that because I don't mimic my stuff and style after them, but they're just the two that put this fuel in my heart of I want to be a pro wrestler. And so I will always attribute my passion and my dream to them, but not necessarily like my style. I don't wear the baggy cargo pants or anything like that.
Well, they were just such an incredible duo with what they were able to do. Their work was amazing as heels. They got so much heat coming out every night, just boos all around. And so when you have a foil like John Cena, it's just like the classic tale of good versus evil. And it made for some amazing storytelling.
Yeah. I mean, I remember it, and it's 20 years later. I vividly remember it.
And you just fell in love with it. Since then, this is what you wanted to do. This was your passion.
Yeah.
Did you play any sports? Were you athletic growing up in school? What were some things that you enjoyed doing?
I am pretty athletic naturally, so sports was something I've always been involved in. I played soccer my entire life. And then when I turned 18, it was time to talk about school. I had to pick if I wanted to play collegiate soccer or if I wanted to be a pro wrestler. And I picked wrestling. But I played soccer my entire life, and then I played other sports too, but I always picked soccer. So I played basketball, I did gymnastics, horseback riding, but soccer was my sport. And then I started training at 17 to be a pro wrestler. And I would have to go from soccer practice to wrestling practice my senior year of high school. And then when I went to college, I was strictly doing pro wrestling training.
Well, I'm sure playing all these sports growing up, I'm sure it helped prepare you for getting into the business in terms of your hand-eye coordination, the speed and agility, and constantly moving around, because it's a workout. It really is. And so 17 years old, start training. Walk me through the process of stepping in the ring for the first time, working with trainers. What can you tell me about that experience?
I remember this pretty vividly as well. It was the summer. I was going into my senior year of high school, and all I wanted was to get into a ring. I didn't care if it was a boxing ring. I didn't care if it was a pro wrestling ring. I just wanted to get into a ring and see how it felt, because it was time for me to pick where I was going to go to college. And it was something that I was like, I just need to see if this is if I could do it, or if it's just a dream of mine. And I started Googling schools near me. As a kid, I knew everyone went to OVW, all my favorites, but that was in Kentucky, and I did not live in Kentucky. So I just started Googling schools around me, and I found a pro wrestling school. And my parents came home that day, and I told them, like, we need to go check this out. And they came with me to my very first training session. And I remember my coach at the time was Josh Gary, and he tried to talk me out of wrestling. And I took my first suplex, and I just popped up smiling, and I was hooked since then. I've been training since that day too. But I remember I wore my Edge shirt. Both my parents were there. There's a video of my first suplex ever. And then after that day, I just enrolled and it was a year-long training program that I did. And it was, I believe, 3 times a week. This is, again, like 11 years ago at this point. But that's kind of how it started. I just Googled and found a school nearby, and it happened to be with somebody that to this day I still trust and think very highly of in the business. And I got very lucky in that sense. But yeah, just Google.
Getting discouraged starting out, I'm sure that is very hard.
Yeah, I mean, it was more, I think he knows that the business is what it is. It's a hard business. And I was super young. And it wasn't just me. He did that with all the students, like try to talk us out of wrestling. Because once we're in it, I mean, he just knows. He's been in it for so many years at this point too, that you just fall in love with it. But it is a very tough business. And I mean, it didn't work on me. It's worked on other people, I'm sure, that they're like, you know what, this isn't for me. But I just remember it took my very first suplex. There's pictures of me in the ring. And since that day, I have been in the wrestling business.
And so starting out working with your trainers, what are some pieces of advice that he's giving you, telling you that you've applied to not only inside the ring, but out of the ring as well?
So starting out very young and a girl, I think my advice was a little bit different than some of my co-trainees. They were mostly men. Even if they were around my same age, just boys and girls in the business are very different, especially 10 years ago. I guess my biggest point of advice is like, don't trust everybody. As a young female in the business, I was told a lot of things by a lot of different people that were just not true. And they did it just to either show they could do that or just promise things that would never happen. And I think applying that to your real life as well is very good advice, because don't believe it until you see it. And now that I'm older, looking back, that was very good advice, because I did believe people left and right just because I was excited. I was in the business. It was this shiny thing in front of me. It wasn't true, but it was shiny. So I believed it. So I think that was a very big piece of advice that I still carry to this day. Another thing is that he taught us there's 3 things you have to be: professional, charismatic, and coachable. And I think that applies to everything you do in your life. Be professional, have some charisma when you approach things. If you're not happy about it or confident about it, no one else is going to be. And be coachable. Yes, with wrestling, that's very easy to apply. Well, you would think so. It's more of a direct translation, but be adaptable. Like, things change on the regular. I think that's a really good piece of advice too in your everyday life. Those 3 things.
Exactly. And like you mentioned, it is a tough business. And when you're constantly doing these drills, you're constantly grinding it out and you're taking bumps and falling. What were some things going through your mind? I'm sure that there were times where you just felt like calling it a day, but what were some things that you felt that were big motivational tools for you to keep going when things got tough?
I really think I think back to when I was a kid, like how much I wanted this and everything I did, and how I kind of structured my entire final years of a teenager into my early 20s around this dream. And I also think that I'm good at it. And that was kind of motivating too, especially when I found my character back then. I've obviously changed her a little bit since that time, but it was always fun to me. And I loved it. Even on hard days, you love it. Same with soccer. I mean, there were days I didn't want to run hills, but running the hills made me able to perform in the games. So I think just that is motivation itself, and knowing I could just feel like I can do something with this, which is not everyone's experience. And, but I just knew I had something in me to give.
And part of the cool thing about wrestling is that you have a variety of different characters, and you've had the good fortune so far, 11 years and counting in the business. That's crazy. That's amazing. So cool. And you've been able to come up with these different characters, different styles and facets of yourself in the business so far. What can you tell me about the first character that you were able to create and how it was able to evolve?
So the first character, I had no idea who she really was. My coach at the time thought, I was young and blonde, that I was going to be baby face. And we tried that, and I'm not a baby face. I mean, I could be, but I'm just not naturally the cheerleader type. And so my first character ever, she kind of came naturally, in the sense of your character's 10 times you, a version of you. And at the time, I really liked Paris Hilton. And so I kind of mimicked this character after her, and like the Kardashians, just like these rich people, but daddy's version of it. So, but I didn't want to be LA. Like, I wasn't blonde. I feel like Beverly Hills is very stereotypical. I wanted to be very New York old money with it. And then Gossip Girl too, like Blair Waldorf. That was a big inspo for the original character. And then I started just like watching different things that like Paris Hilton would do. And so I would have t-shirts that like stop being poor, because she had t-shirts. And so it kind of just naturally kind of came about. Eventually there was a lot of time between thought and execution. And then even then she kept evolving. And then when COVID hit, and I kind of took a step back from pro wrestling, I was still doing that rich character gimmick. But at some point I was like, she's got to grow up. And so I started thinking of new ways, like what job would she have? What would she do? And we landed with news reporter.
And it's important, too, to have your finger on the pulse of kind of things that are going on, pop culture. News reporter is such a unique angle to take. What made you decide to go that route?
I actually wanted to be a news reporter when I went to school until I realized you had to do a lot of your own research. And I don't want to do that. I just want to talk into a camera. And then when I actually worked at Fox News for a little bit as well. So I'd been around real news before. But I just had this idea for this character because I wanted to be a news reporter in real life for a little bit of time. And then I really liked that 70s show. And Mila Kunis's character, Jackie, is a rich daddy's girl. And then her job that she gets is a news reporter. I was like, this is kind of perfect way to see how it was done on a TV show. But the news reporter idea just came because I really wanted to be a news reporter in real life.
You got to live out your dream.
Yeah, now I don't have to do the research because I talk about me. I already know all the topics.
Exactly. Just have it in your brain and just go to work.
Yeah.
All right. So you had mentioned a bit ago that you kind of took a step away from the business. What made you decide to take a little break?
COVID, to be honest with you. I was wrestling a lot, especially with Queens of Combat. And then COVID hit and everything kind of shut down. I graduated college 2 months after COVID hit too. So it was like the world was shutting down. Plus my real world was starting because I was no longer in college. And it was just figuring out what I wanted to do. Wrestling, I wasn't contracted anywhere. So it wasn't like I was making any money wrestling at the time either. And I kind of got a real job and kind of fell into the regular lifestyle, I guess, of having a job. And then I never took a full year off, but I definitely took a big step back. And at the time, it just wasn't my priority. And it wasn't until WrestleCade this year that I really was very motivated again and felt the passion. I also had this new character idea that I just think I resonate so well with, and I know how to portray her very, very well. So I was super excited about it. I think all the excitement and passion came back literally 8 months ago.
Yeah, sometimes you just need that break to kind of recharge your batteries. And once you find that passion, that idea, you're able to go and execute that and go above and beyond to make sure it's successful. So that's so exciting. You hold the record for being the youngest OVW women's champion. How does that feel? And describe the feeling of being able to win the title at such a young age.
It's great. It's a bragging right for sure. I put it on every resume that I send out to every promotion that I am the youngest OVW women's champion in history. It's something that I always wanted to do. When I was younger, I would Google all of my favorite wrestlers, and they all went to Ohio Valley Wrestling, but I didn't know when I was a kid why they all went there. Obviously, grew up, realized it was developmental at that time, so of course they all went there. But I just thought that was the place that you go if you want to be a WWE superstar. And so my goal as a kid was always to go to OVW. I literally remember like bookmarking all of these places that I could go. And then when I was deciding where to go to school, Louisville was such a obvious choice for me because it was 20 minutes down the road from OVW. So I was able to go to college and get my training in. But when I went to OVW too, my goal was always to win the belt because I knew that I would be the youngest in history if I won it. And so I was there for a year. And one, it was really, really nice that it let me win. They did not have to do that for me. I was on my way out at the time that I won it. But it was really great. It was short-lived, but it's still something that I wanted since I was a child. And I did it. And even if I'm never, your WWE Women's Champion, I've achieved a lot of my dreams that I don't even realize until we sit here and talk about it, that I've done what I wanted to do. So it was really great. The only downside is I won it at 19, so an 18-year-old could come in and take my record. But hopefully they don't.
You got to go to Women of Wrestling, which is an amazing promotion. I think it's really incredible to see an all women's promotion out there. There's so many of them. But talk to me about your experience there, becoming Sandy Shore, playing that character, and what you thought of your time in WoW.
WoW kind of came out of nowhere, in the sense it was like kind of talked about, but they didn't have a character for me until randomly David called me. He's like, we have this character idea right now for you. And they are the ones.
The perfect lunch combo. That first bite of your favorite sub, followed by ice cold Pepsi. Add a couple of friends, and now that's next level. Suddenly, the laughs get louder, the stories keep flowing, and the food tastes better. Because Pepsi brings out more flavor, more fun, and more of the moment. Food deserves Pepsi. Grab a Pepsi Zero Sugar today.
Once I created Sandy Shore, I had no say in her. The only thing that I think they pulled from me was the Carolina. Although I'm from North Carolina and she's from South Carolina, that is basically the only thing that has anything to do with me. But they came up with the character Sandy Shore, but they knew they wanted to work with me. They just didn't have a character until it was time. And they called me literally like 2 weeks before taping. He's like, can you get to LA? And I was like, yeah, I just started my job at Fox News. And I had to tell the guy, my boss at the time, I was like, I just got to work remote for a week. I didn't tell him where I was going or why. And then the time zone difference really messed. I was working crazy early because 30-hour time difference. But yeah, it kind of came out of nowhere. They had this idea for this character. She was a really fun character. And my time, I'm still with them. But my time that I've had so far has been great. And I think that over the years, I've shown my loyalty and they've started to trust me more. And now with this twist on Sandy Shore for this new season being Best for Business, it's a lot of fun because it's a lot more me. It's closer to who my character is and who I am than the beach girl.
It's always good to have that creative control to be able to pitch ideas and come up with different concepts that eventually get the green light to go ahead. It's always good to have that in place. And so you've also had the opportunity of having exposure on AEW and Ring of Honor TV. How did those opportunities come up?
They DM'd me, which was great. I remember in 2021, I got an email from Sean Dean, who still does the bookings. And it said, do you still wrestle? Or something like that, because I had taken the break. And I was like, yes, I do. And they were at the Bojangles Coliseum in Charlotte, North Carolina, which was probably like 8,000 fans, I would think. But yeah, they just DM'd me. And then I was like, hell yeah. And at that time I did tell my boss, like, I need to go. I got this. I have this opportunity. And I remember going, and I get nervous right before I go out. It doesn't matter the size of the audience, but as soon as I go through the curtains, I'm just like in it to win it. I'm ready. I'm in the moment. And I think that in 2021, that moment of going through, looking around, seeing everybody and like actually having a match, it wasn't a squash match. It was obviously a match to help get her over, but I got things in the match and I got character moments and all of those things. It really solidified for me. I could do this. Like, I could do this in front of 5 people. I could do this in front of 5 million people. I can do this. It doesn't matter. And then the second time that I worked for them, again, DM'd me. Was like, are you available? I said, yes, I am. So that's how it came through the DMs.
And so having these contacts and networking, providing you with such a big opportunity like this, what was the reaction like backstage? Anybody come up to you, give you any feedback? What was that like? Yeah.
So in 2021, I had Dustin Rhodes come up to me and tell me it was so great. He said my facials were amazing. I look like a superstar, all of these things. And I thought, great, I'm getting a contract. Did not get one. That's compliments don't mean contract, which I, again, know now. But he came up to me and gave me feedback. And then my last time around, actually, I got a little bit of feedback. Tony said it was great, but what's his name? Like White Vanilla on Ring of Honor. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I believe I do.
Yeah, he came up to me and gave me a little bit of advice. I'm really big on my moments. That's what I really strive for, is creating moments, whether it's character moments or just like moments that the fans are really encapsulated. And so it was some feedback on how to make a moment matter more, which was really nice advice. Even though that advice is not like your match was amazing, it was, this is how it could be better. I prefer that kind of feedback already, because I want to be the best at what I do. I want to be undeniable. I know that's Tessa's thing, but I do want to be that way too. So his advice was just how to make a moment matter more. And then, yeah.
You've grown so much. You've grown so much since then with being able to have that experience. And now you're with WOW. You're doing that. You're doing work on the independent scene as well. The indies are very hot right now. What's it like? Talk to me about what your experience working on the independent circuit and future plans and goals that you'd like to achieve.
So independents are hit or miss, definitely, but I feel like that's any kind of organization or any kind of business. I am in Florida, and so there's a ton of wrestling down here. And I work for good companies, and I work for companies that I don't want to work for again. So like I said, it's hit or miss. But I do think that the indies are really popping off. And I think it's because these major platforms are giving a lot more leeway to their talent. So I can be unsigned independent worker wrestling, someone that's a top dog at AEW right now. And so I think that is a really cool aspect of the indies right now, is that there's a lot of access to a lot of people that are people. And so you get to network a lot more. You get these big opportunities. You get to build your resume out there. I think that, there's a bunch of promotions throughout the world that are blowing up right now. But yeah, I think the independent scene is very hot. Like you said, it is hard. It is stressful. You've got to put the work in if you want to get noticed or if you want to get opportunities. So it's a lot of networking, a lot of sending messages, a lot of here's my promos, here's my matches. A lot of I'm going to be in the area. And I don't need a hotel. I don't need a flight. I'm already in the area. I just want an opportunity. But I think it's great. And then for me personally, my goals are obviously to get a contract that's going to pay all my bills and make me live my dream. But as far as the indies go, I want to get on some bigger indies. I've reached out to a few of them. I've reached out to US-based ones, but I would love to go international. If I had the opportunity, I would take it up. I know that Progress in England just got bought by Damos and Nikki. So I would love to go there. They have a great following. They have a great product. In the States, I would love to go to Dreamwave, which I've reached out to them, Beyond. So my goal is to really just get out there, get on bigger shows, wrestle bigger people, and get my name out there so people know who I am.
And they will. Any dream opponents?
So if I had the choice, I would love to wrestle Becky Lynch. I, admire her work as a wrestler. I think, what they say is the best of all time, not just her saying it, but I admire her life. So she lives my dream currently, has a family, is still actively wrestling, and has made the history books. And I think she would be not only a great opponent, I think she'd be an amazing mentor. And if we could connect, it would be a dream come true. But she's definitely one of my dream opponents because she has my dream life.
Yeah, just such an inspiration too. If you've read her biography or memoir, just really got into the business, really fought for her dreams and her goals, and main evented WrestleMania. I feel like it paved the way for so many women that hopefully one day we get more WrestleMania main events featuring the women in them. So yeah, that's definitely one I would love to hopefully see that happen for you one day.
Thank you. Me too.
Yeah. Well, outside of wrestling, I know you're very passionate about giving back and have been active in your community. What are some things that you're very passionate about as far as causes and activities that you've been able to help out with over the years?
Okay, I don't want this to like turn darkish, but I was my background went away. A big DV advocate, so domestic violence awareness advocate. I did it all through college. I used to compete in pageants. That was always my platform statement. And we had, at the time, a women's shelter that any money you win, we would donate to them. So that's always been a big, big thing for me. I know it's not like the prettiest topic. It's not like the Ronald McDonald House, which is another great cause. But I think it's something that people don't talk about a lot or enough, or they don't really understand it, or why people do X, Y, Z, and I'll never understand it, hopefully. But that doesn't mean that I can't support. So that's something that has been a big cause that I've supported for years at this point now. And then on top of that, there's a lot of golf charities that I'm involved in. And I would say the most recent charity that I've given back to would be the SPCA, the animal shelter. And it came from like this casino theme thing where you didn't win the money, but like you and your team were playing for money, and we were able to donate $10,000 to them, which was amazing. Yeah.
Fascinating.
Yeah. And then I'm surrounded by a lot of charity a lot of the time. So even if I'm not fully the one who's involved in the activities, it is surrounding me all the time. Habitat for Humanity, they just built a house, and I have a bunch of friends that literally built the house and gave it to this family. And then kids, it's called First Tee. And it's really like focused on construction, like showing kids that there are avenues, even if they aren't growing up in the best environments. Really diving into like the trades and apprenticeship and all those things. So I would say that's what is heavily surrounding my life right now.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think that being involved in so many different platforms, I think, is important. I think that's pretty cool to have something for kids to participate in that aren't able to find themselves yet when it comes to jobs and careers, and having a platform, having a place, an outlet where kids can discover different types of jobs that they didn't even think about before. Yeah.
And I think it's good too, because I mean, my parents love them. Thank you so much for making me go to school, but you don't have to go to college to be successful. And I think it's good to know that there's other options. You could be a pro wrestler.
What is it about giving back to the community that gives you the most joy?
I think reactions. So being in our business too, like we work for reactions, whether it's the crowd, we want to pop each other. So I think reactions is a big one. I'm not somebody that needs credit for everything that I've done. Do I like to see the fruit of my labor? Yes. Do I need to shout out every time I do something? No. So I think charity is a really good way of getting that. It's like, you don't need to know that I was on the team that raised $10,000, but the fact that we raised $10,000, you can see what that does is really rewarding. And then truthfully, like, it just restores your faith in humanity, because this world can be so scary and crazy. And when you give people something and they're so genuinely appreciative of it, and you know you're making a difference, it's just very heartwarming. And I have a very, very soft side. I'm a very big person that has empathy for a lot of different people. So it definitely pulls at my heartstrings a lot in that sense. And then even with the animals, I know they can't like say thank you verbally. But you can just tell, like, when you make a difference, it's a very good feeling.
You never know what somebody or something can be going through. Like especially with animals, because there's animals out there that are suffering. They need the love and support that they deserve to have. And so it's hard out there, and you want to be able to be someone that can go out there and really strive to help as much as you can possible.
Yeah. And if you have it, do it. I mean, I go to church, and we obviously you're supposed to tithe. 10% is a lot, but if you can see the impact churches make, you can see the impact Habitat for Humanity makes, whatever it is, adoption events, it's just so rewarding. And even on TikTok, sometimes I scroll and I'll see these people, and I have 2 guys on TikTok I follow that I genuinely follow their story. And if I can donate, I will donate to them. And they don't like shout you out like that, but I have donated to a few TikTok people as well, just because I have the ability to give a little bit of something, and I follow their stories, and I think they're inspiring.
Wow. Kindness just goes a long way. It really does. Madisyn, I want to say thank you so much for coming on to Wrestling with Heart. It means a lot to me and to my listeners and viewers that are watching this on YouTube. Where can people find out more about you on social media? And if you have anything you want to plug, feel free.
So I'm on Instagram, and I am recently getting back into X. My Instagram, though, is just Madisyn Maxxwell with 2 X's. And I have launched a website, so it's maddymedia.net, which it's supposed to look like it's an actual news website, but it's all about me. So all my future appearances are going to be on there. I post them on Instagram as well, but the website is just something fun to have. And I'm trying to get better at the YouTube game, but I'm not there yet. But Instagram is definitely the best way to find me. And I wrestle every weekend. So stay tuned, because I might be coming to a town near you. Yeah.
Love to see you in action, and hope to meet you in person one day.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks again, Madisyn, and you're more than welcome to come back.
Thank you for having me.
It's my pleasure. And remember, you can get your copy now of Champions for a Cause Volume 1. It is available as a paperback on Amazon.com for $15. All your favorite professional wrestling personalities are in there. I'm talking about Mark Merrow, Buff Bagwell, Tito Santana, Jake the Snake Roberts, and many more. Get your copy today. I'm Stanley Carr, and I will see you next time.
This is Wrestling with Heart. I hope you found this podcast to be informative and entertaining. If you did, please hit the subscribe button and look out for the next edition.
This episode is brought to you by ChatGPT. Hey, it's Bill Simmons from the Bill Simmons Podcast. Have you guys heard about ChatGPT work? It's the new way to use ChatGPT for bigger multi-step projects. And when you need more than just answers, give ChatGPT work access to your apps and files, and it can create real work documents like spreadsheets, slides, and structured reports. Get started at chatgpt.com by selecting work mode, available on Plus and Pro plans.
Hello.
Look what TJ Maxx dragged in.
The Devil Wears Prada 2 is now streaming on Disney Plus and Hulu.
We are digital, we are downloadable, we are streamable.
The fashion event of the year is certified fresh.
Pull yourself together, we have work to do.
Critics say it's smart and witty and the perfect sequel.
That's all.
Get runway ready for The Devil Wears Prada 2 on Disney Plus and Hulu. Rated PG-13.
Hey, I'm running out to drop off a stack of letters and packages. Need anything shipped while I'm gone?
Save the gas. Stamps.com lets you print postage and schedule pickups right from your desk. Sync your contacts into the address book, get detailed accounting insights, and get notified the moment your certified mail is delivered.
All from my desk?
All from your desk.
Join the 4 million businesses using Stamps.com right now with code PODCAST and get your free welcome gift. Stamps.com, code PODCAST. Taxes and fees apply.